further, Vincenzo is about our handsome consigliere and anti-hero, Vincenzo Cassano, a Korean-born member of the Italian mafia / lawyer who returns to South Korea following the death of his leader and to escape the grasp of his enemies following the call of his old colleague who we'll see later, Mr. Cho. However, he doesn't realize that the gold isn't all that's to be waiting for him. When he arrives in South Korea, he finds himself in the midst of a dispute between a shady conglomerate Babel and an independent lawyer who fights for the justice of the innocent. Throughout this, he meets a self-assured, playful, yet fiery lawyer, Hong Cha-young, and as we delve into this drama from the very beginning, we witness Vincenzo basically becoming, in a metaphorical sense, a shelter for her. But that's a story for another time. Okay, y'all, so this is a series full of so many amazing elements, from allegiances and plot twists, betrayals, and memorable casts and ensembles who you can't help but fall in love with. But what specific elements make Vincenzo so great? Let me tell you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Bree TV. If you're new here, I am Bree, your project bunch pasta who does reactions to last videos. I wondered, did you like that intro? If not, let me know. Hope it didn't sound forced. I had to script out my whole thing because I have so many thoughts and I want this to kind of be perfect. Not perfect, but great. Because I do enjoy doing reviews and I'm hoping y'all enjoy this format. So today I'm doing a review of the K-drama Vincenzo. It's on Netflix. It is a 20-episode K-drama with every episode's about 90 minutes. But we'll get into that. Trust me, it's worth it. It flies by. But I love this so much. I'm considering posting a video I filmed like 3 days ago, because this took me like 3 days to watch, of my reaction to the very first episode. Let me know in the comments if you want that, so you can see what my reaction was then versus how I'm feeling now. And yeah, so if you guys are curious about my thoughts on this K-drama and if you want to know if this K-drama will be good for you, just stay tuned. If you see me looking down, honestly my phone's probably gonna be in my hand, but if you see me looking at my phone, it's because I want to pinpoint everything I wrote out, because I don't want to leave anything out, because I feel like this is a very important, not important review, obviously there's bigger things in the world, but I want to give like the 411, all the info on this K-drama, the 101, so you know what's up, and basically you can figure out, oh, do I want to watch this? I recommend it for everybody. But I basically want to give you the rundown on this whole show and let y'all know what's up. So yeah, that's why I have a script. We're gonna be have a conversation, but I wrote this out, so I'm gonna touch on it. We're gonna talk. It is what it is. So yeah, as I said, what elements about Vincenzo make it so great? What makes it such a big deal? Why is it so popular? Why is it constantly trending? Why do K-pop idols love it so much? Well, let me tell you. So in Vincenzo, romance is just a bonus. Like literally, it's just a bonus. Unlike many K-dramas where the focus of the plot is normally on the building of a romance between like the two main cast members, Vincenzo is a whole nother story. This is literally focusing on a badass lawyer who basically is invincible. Like you cannot touch him. Whatever you throw at him, he's going to rise above. He's gonna see it coming. He's gonna like just shock the fuck out of you. And literally, he's so clever. He's so neat. And I feel like it's because, as he said, he comes from a world of scumbags. He literally is one. He's the anti-hero. He has his flaws, but he still fights for justice. He's aware he lacks, and he's not perfect. He's not a great person. He knows this. But he's better than the people coming for him, because while they're taking down he's like, I don't go for the innocent. I don't touch the little people. Unlike the people we'll see later who we fuck them. But yeah, we don't. Basically, while we do see a little bit of romance in Vincenzo, it's not the whole plot. It's more of a perfect balance of, ooh, flirting, ooh, hold back, like, we're here, but there, we're here and there, but it feels genuine. It's nothing forced, and it's not the whole plot, which I do love, because this is more of a melodrama / action. So they make sure their whole central plot is not about the romance between these two main characters that we're all shipping. It's like, oh, well, they won't win. We'll find out eventually, but that's not the whole point. If it doesn't happen, oh well, it would not affect the story. The second element I want to talk about, I'm going to call this the BWVD, Big White Vehicle of Death. Shall I say more? I don't know if this is every K-drama, but in this one, there was always, in every few episodes, a big white vehicle of death. Whether it be a truck or a bus or a car or something that just wiped the fuck out of one of the cast members. You know, just be like, what the hell? Oh, I understand this is the mafia. I understand it's shady ass people. Well, why we gotta kill him with a bus? Why is he being hit by a bus? Why? There is no other way to kill him off. A bus is how you had to do it. It's just like, so that's what I'm gonna call this, the BWVD, Big White Vehicle of Death. And you never see it coming. It's just like, oh, they're talking, and you're like, bam, dead. What the fuck? And you're just like, like you sit there and you're like, oh, rewind, did that just happen? Yeah, it did. They just got smacked the fuck out of it, and you're just like, wow, that happened. And literally, if I can find the screenshot, well, if I can find the conversation, I'm gonna put the screenshot of me after seeing that scene right there, and I was just like, big white vehicle of death. Shall I say more? Yeah. My next points, it's probably my longest points, is the cast members. This is probably, out of every show I've watched, I mean kdrama, out of just every show, the best cast I have ever seen. This cast, this was the perfect assembly of people. And like, some of these people I have never heard of before and others I have, so I feel like it wasn't just like, oh, we're gonna get all the popular actors we can find. No, it was like, these people are probably more well known than this person. You're gonna have an idol here. One, the main rapper from 2 PM, who I'll get to later, is in this, and his acting is fucking top tier. But it's like, you have a mixture, and like, okay, I want to read out how I wrote this so I don't explain it wrong. But I like how they took a strong main cast and supported them with a strong supporting cast. No one was lacking. The way the writers, shout out to them, I'm gonna look up your names and put you here. The way the writers wrote out some of these cast members, I couldn't help but fall in love with them. Like, the character development of these people, it wasn't like here's a random cast member who honestly I don't know why they're there, what good do they do. No, these cast members, the supporting cast, brought dynamics. They brought something I didn't know I needed to this show. And the way they did it, sometimes I would sit there, I'm like, I wonder what this character's doing, even though it could have nothing to do with them. But because you just were like, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't want to spoil the episode, but there's one episode where something happens and I'm like, and for the whole rest of the episode I'm sitting there like, are we not gonna talk about what just happened? Basically the character development, perfect. And it's like, the way they wrote them, it's like you couldn't help but either fall in love with the character, hate the character, or just like laugh out loud. It was like, oh my god, I love them. There's so many characters. It's like, you know, in some shows it's like, only have like one character I don't like or one character I do like, because there's not much going on with the other characters because they don't have much of a plot or anything. No, this one, it's like, oh, I love this person, this person, this person I fucking hate. Boom, 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 boom. It was like that. So let's get into basically the cast members. By the way, I'm not doing every cast member, I just chose a select few. I'm not saying these characters are more important than the others, I just want to highlight these characters. Okay, so I'm gonna go by character names rather than the actor, but I will include the actor's name here or in the description. So I'm already sad. I'm sorry, I don't want to spoil anything, but spoiler alert, I'm gonna give you a few seconds. I will put at what timestamp you can skip this part if you don't want to hear the spoiler. Episode 12, end of episode 19 to episode 20. What the fuck? Why did they have to kill him? I loved him so much. Okay, end of spoiler. Okay, so our lovable Han-Seok, he is such oh my, I'm sorry if you heard the spoiler, I'm gonna get emotional. His redemption arc was so good. I went from not hating him, well, no, did I hate him? I never hated him, but I went from like, I don't know how I feel about this guy, to the whole time I was like, he's hot, but I was like, I don't know how I feel about him, to oh, he's kind of cute, to oh, he's so precious, like, oh my god, I feel so bad for him. I was going between sympathizing for him to like, basically I went from I don't know how I feel about him to sympathizing for him to like, oh my god, I love him, oh my god, I want him to do so well, I don't want this for him, or why do they treat him like this? And then he shocked me at one point because like the way they wrote him, you're like, oh, he's like that just pretty face but nothing's going on up here kind of character who's probably like the puppet of the company, and there's probably someone big above him. And then you find out that he has shit working in here. He's smarter than we thought. And you're just like, because they would reveal things after it happened, like basically there would be like behind the scenes technically of like, whoa, what went on before this actually happened that you didn't know. And then you'd be like, wait, he's like ahead of everybody. He's ahead of the game. He's like, got mental capacity is bigger than we thought. His brain is always working. And it's like, I felt so bad for him because he was the sweetest soul, and like all he wanted. Okay, this is another spoiler, it's nothing huge, but all this man wanted was validation from he just wanted validation. All he asked for was validation. And even in the last few moments of the episode of the season, the last few moments, all he cared about was if he did good. All he cared about is if he finally did something good in the world. And I felt for this man. I've never cried for a character as much as I did him. Like, I know I'm always rooting for characters, but I haven't cried over a character since like the live action Beauty and the Beast came out. And I already knew it was gonna happen. I don't know why I cried. But this is the only time since then where I've cried over a character because of how hard I was rooting for them because of a redemption arc. And then it got stripped from me and I like literally was like near sobbing. I'm still kind of emotional, so I'm trying to be like, yeah. But if you hate him, there's something wrong with you, because I literally love this man with all my heart. I don't know. I love him. I need to see if he's acting in anything else, because the actor who played him, I need to see how he acts in other roles, because I loved him in Vincenzo. It was so good. Literally shedding tears still for him. Most precious soul ever, my soft boy. Okay, now we're gonna get into our Joon-woo. Joon-woo, this is played by the member of 2PM, the main rapper. Joon-woo, all I can say about him is wow. The actor who played him, again, it's like, oh my, the way they wrote this, it's like, oh my god, I want to know what this actor is like in other roles, because he played his role so well. When I tell y'all the plot twist in this show that I want to spoil but I can't, if you want a more in-depth review about each episode, I will happily give that, because the shit I have to say is crazy. But all I can say is wow. Just wow. He's our token English speaker, and it wasn't like he just randomly spoke English at the weirdest moments. It wasn't like overkill. It was like, it made sense. Like his little hi boss, like just randomly he'd be like, hi boss, and he'd be like, don't call me that, and he's like, okay boss. Like, it was like, he was just so endearing. His English parts, like, it didn't, as I said, it didn't feel like overkill. It worked with the script. It didn't feel forced. Like, hi boss, like he'd randomly rant and then like slip into English, because I think his character went to school in, was it Boston? He went to school in America, so when he was younger, so of course he learned English, so he would have moments where he would slip into speaking English and then back into Korean, because those are his main languages, so he'd like slip back and forth. So when he's like really excited about something or really upset or like really sad about something, he'd slip between English and Korean. And it was really entertaining, because then there would be parts I'm like, oh my god, I know what he's saying, and I don't need subtitles. Also, does anyone else, when they read subtitles, hear what they're saying in English? I don't know if that's everybody, but like, I'll read what they said and I'm like, oh, and I'm hearing their voice say it in English. I don't know if that's everyone or that's just me, but yeah, I love his voice, by the way. And his English voice, the actor who plays him, his English voice is so hot. I'm sorry, the whole cast is attractive, but he is so fun. I could go all day about him. He's so hot. But yeah, our token English speaker, he's so endearing. He's literally a goofball. He's a little just fluffy goofball, and he's just like full of charm and mystery and just wow. That's all I can say is wow. And this is because, yeah, wow. If you know, you know. I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, so our next cast, the entire plaza, all the residents of the plaza. Wow. Okay, so each and every single lieutenant has their own dynamic with not only Vincenzo and Chang-young, but each other. So there will be moments where Vincenzo's not even in the scene. He's somewhere else doing God knows what. And they're just talking with each other, and then you're invested in their conversation. You're like, oh, we're doing this, what's gonna happen? And you're curious about like, oh, what is this person doing? I wonder what this person's doing. They could be talking about someone else, and you want to learn their names. You're like, oh, yeah, Mr. Lee. I think it was Myri. I think is one of their names. It's just different people, and you're like, oh, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what she's doing. I wonder what he's doing. I wonder what Toto's doing. If you know who Toto is, he's our chef, who's like a con artist in a way. Not really, but like, he's like, oh, I went to Italy and I learned all the special dishes. Vincenzo tricked him there, and he was like, oh, you learned it in this place and you lived here? And he's like, yeah. He's like, actually, that's a gallery and this place is here, so therefore you weren't there, and that's why your food sucks. So it'd be like, because it's like someone who lived in Italy will tell you if an Italian dish is actually authentic and good versus someone who's not from that culture who's like, oh yeah, this is great, and then Vincenzo's like, this fucking sucks. So it'd be moments like that. And Toto is so precious. Oh my god, I love him. He's the cutest little he's old, he's like the cutest little grown big marshmallow chef guy. I don't know, I loved him. And then the monks, even the monks I loved. They didn't do much. No, they had parts, but they weren't even there all the time, and you still liked them. It was still funny what they did. And like, it's like whenever they opened their mouths, you want to laugh. Like, they were funny. Everyone was funny. Everyone had dynamic. Everyone brought something to the script, because, you know, part of the show takes place between like Babel headquarters, the plaza, Italy, the streets, the hospitals, everything. So like the main part of the show is going to take place where they live, so of course you have to get the tenants a personality of some sort. You don't want just random people who are like, oh yeah, hi, and bring nothing to the script. No, they brought something to the show, and it's like you want to come back not only for Vincenzo and Cha-young and Babel, but for the tenants too. Our next person is Cha-young. So the dynamic for her, English pronoun, the dynamic between her and Vincenzo, I loved. Also, if I say Vincenzo as Vincenzo instead of Vincenzo, because I hear it's Vincenzo, but I think my brain just programmed to be like Vincenzo, because that's how also some of the residents would be like Vincenzo or Mr. Casanova. Instead of Cassano, it's Casanova. They'd be like Casanova, Vincenzo instead of Vincenzo, stuff like that. I thought it was kind of funny. They're like, oh, Mr. Casanova, and then it's like his name is Vincenzo. Or consigliere, they'd be like corn salad, consigliere corn salad, Mr. Corn Salad. What does corn salad mean? Oh, we heard corn salad meant you were like important. It's like, please don't call me corn salad. It was stuff like that. But yeah, so Cha-young, again, the dynamic between her and Vincenzo I loved. As I said prior in the intro, I felt like he became a shelter for her almost. And through some of the scenes, if you watch it, so you'll understand what I mean. I don't want to spoil it, but for me to explain what I mean, I have to spoil it. So spoiler right here. Okay, so y'all, so from the moment he gave her the umbrella, when he was like, oh, me and your dad are gonna be here. Well, he bought the umbrella and gave it to the guy who worked in the store, and he's like, oh, give this to her before she leaves. And he told her, hey, me and your dad are gonna be at this place for food, like getting food. If you want to speak with him, I promise he's not mad at you. Just come and make up. Left. I feel like that was the first one of him being a shelter. He protected her from the rain. Then we have him protecting her from Babel constantly trying to bury her. We had him protecting her from death multiple times. Literally, he shielded her from death. He shielded her from the rain. He shielded her from death. And that sequence, I saw this tweet on Twitter. Really, this photo sequence of him shielding her from a bullet was the cutest and sweetest thing I've ever seen. I loved their dynamic. Okay, rant over. It was nothing big. I'm sorry, I'm like tearing up. The show makes me emotional. I really like it. So, okay, so I want to read this part perfectly for y'all. So, despite Cha-young coming off as incredibly annoying and bitchy, because I won't lie to you, when I first started the show, episode 1, I was like, who the fuck is this bitch? Who does she think she is? Why is she talking to this guy like that? Yeah, but then I thought she was funny because it was the way she delivered her lines. Like, the actress who played her name is, if I'm correct, Jeon Yeo-been. Jeon Yeo-been. Let me know how to pronounce it. I will double check. The way she delivered her lines, it's like her character is known for being annoying and kind of like snarky, not self-absorbed, but a little like into herself. She's overly confident. She's overly self-assured. Does that make sense? So the way she'd kind of talk to people, you're like, oh, 'cause she's so annoying. But then you're like, but why do I like it? Like, why do I like how she's doing it? Why is it funny? It'd be like that. Like, there's something compelling about her. And I've never thought I'd say there's something compelling about someone being so fucking annoying, but it's something about her. She's like really playful too with it. It's so difficult. So like to her, it's like comedic timing. Like the way she delivered her lines, comedic timing, and made it funny. It again didn't feel forced. It's like, I love these actors. I've never heard of her before, but after this show, I'm going to look for her because I love the actress. And then something I found cool about their dynamic is the fact that despite the two of them came from two completely different backgrounds, Vincenzo comes from a world of crime, shooting, murders, cunning, clever, conniving, evil scumbags. to, well, low-key, she kind of came from the same thing, but it wasn't her actually involved with it. It was more so people around her, because she's a lawyer. They're both lawyers. Law, especially considering how big of the company she worked under is, there's some shady ass motherfuckers on there. They are some sneaky, conniving people. So his was more so villains, hers was more so just crooked people. But yeah, so but his was like mafia world. Hers is just more like basic lawyer. His is mafia and lawyer. So yeah, but the fact that it basically came from two completely different worlds, but through one shared, like, I don't want to say trauma, but through a shared event and basically hatred for somebody, they were able to basically bring well-deserved hell onto Babel. That's the best I can put that. Babel deserved every fucking thing that hit it. Well-deserved hell. If you know the show, if you've seen the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. Everything that happened to Babel and their associates was well-deserved, and I don't care what anybody says. The only person who I want justice for is Han-Seo. Only him. Only him. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. He's the only one who I want justice for. And justice as in bring, as like, if you've seen it, you know what I mean. He didn't deserve what happened to him. Only person who I feel bad for. Everyone else, I'm not gonna lie, what happened to them happened to them. I may have chuckled, I may have cracked a little smile here and there, I may have laughed. I don't feel bad about it. I stand by my actions. It was well deserved. And it was clever and funny. There'd be some scenes where I'm like, how the fuck did they do this and why is it so funny? I don't want to spoil some scenes, but you'd have pig's blood, and that already sounds weird. You'd have pig's blood. Shit was just spilling on people. You got people breaking in. You throwing people off buildings. Ow. You got burning bitches and buildings, and it was a lot happening. We had bird attacks. Yeah. There was random. We had framing people for things. We had breaking and entering. We got hackers from both sides. Shit was just, it was a lot. Y'all, it's a lot, but it's so good. It's so well written. Oh, and I also forgot to provide nothing felt forced between them. We're going, of course, it's our two main cast members, so of course they're going to try and find a way, if they can, to put a little love interest between them. But it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like they just threw it out of nowhere. It's kind of like they built up to it, but it wasn't nothing intense. Like, they were like, oh my god, look at Vincenzo, he's so this. It'd be the residents, but like, Vincenzo's hot, Vincenzo's attractive, I like this about him. And then you have Taecyeon to like, okay, just be existing. Or it would be just like, it'd be little things like, oh, he'd like smile at her, or she'd like, I don't know if my heart was beating fast because I cared about you, like because I like you, or because I was worried about you. It'd be like little stuff like that, so they'd hint at it, and it'd be like, it was just because it's weird. It was like, they'd pull in, then they'd pull back, they'd snatch it from me, like, psych. And then, yeah, I don't know how to explain it to y'all, other than like, they'd give it to us and they'd snatch it away, like, no, mine. And you're just like, what the fuck? Kind of like that. Next person is, of course, the lovely, the cunning, the clever, the sophisticated, the concierge, Vincenzo, my bad, Vincenzo Cassano, or Vincenzo Casanova. So, he played, so Song Joong-ki, if I'm correct is his name, played the fuck out of his role. He gave what he was supposed to give. He gave everything expected of him. It was giving. All I gotta say, he gave what he's supposed to give, and I loved every moment of it. I followed him after the first episode. That good. That was me for every actor. Followed. The male actors killed that shit, and the female actors. But the men, my three favorite men, killed that. Even the men I hated, y'all's actors play the fuck out of it. I can't even deny that. The people I hated, your actors were still amazing. So it's like, damn, your actors were so good. They made me hate you. Like, I hated your character so much because of how well your actor delivered your lines. I'll put it that way. And vice versa for the love. As I said, he played the fuck out of his role. He gave everything he was supposed to give. And I'm gonna be breaking down right off. From learning Italian just to make sure his pronunciation was proper and that he really, because you know, like, if I'm supposed to play a Spanish speaker, like, say I'm an actress and my role is a Spanish speaker, I don't speak Spanish. That's not my second language. That's not my third. It's not my nothing. I've learned Spanish. I can understand a little bit, But in order for me to make my lines, make my roles seem more believable, wouldn't it make sense for me to learn the language at least enough so I could deliver them with more emotion, more this, more that? That's what Joong-ki did for this role. He learned Italian to deliver his lines better. He was speaking Italian in anger, when he was being a little sassy, when he was emotional, whenever because again, Italian I think was his character's first language or second language, because he's a Korean born, but then he moved to Italy because he was put up for adoption. That's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. If I want to get to that, please ask for that review, because I could talk about that all day. But he learned Italian because that's his second language. He moved to Italy when he got adopted. Yeah, so he'll sometimes switch between Korean and Italian when he's having more of an emotional scene or when he's trying to express himself. Like, again, emotional, like mad, angry, again, sassy, clever lines. A lot of his like jibs, a lot of his jabs, a lot of his like quick-witted stuff would be in Italian because that's his language, and it'd be like a lot of proverbs and stuff and like little quotes, which I'll get to later. Some memorable quotes came from that show. If he didn't put the energy and determination and time into learning Italian so he could deliver his lines with more emotion and just everything, I probably wouldn't appreciate the character as much, I feel. Yeah, and then from the way he just carried himself with his character, I haven't seen him in other roles, but I do know of his name. I've seen him pop up in a lot of shows that I plan on watching. And this is also from things I've heard about him as an actor. The way he carries himself in Vincenzo, he really eludes confidence, swagger, the whole sophisticated aura that a concierge mafia lawyer boss would have. And it's just so impressive, the aura this man has. And again, comedic timing. He was so funny. There would be scenes where he's dangling someone out a window with a measuring tape and still finding ways to make you laugh, and you're just like he was like, oh god. It's supposed to be a serious moment and you're making me laugh while there's a man dangling out the window by fucking measuring tape. You're just like, and then the shower scene, how did they jump from like a serious moment to him in the shower, like, I don't like this water burner and things like that, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, it shouldn't be so funny, but it was funny, and I don't know why that is. This next woman, I don't like her at all. I really fucking hate this woman so much, and it's the fact that in one episode, I literally was like, oh yeah, you tell them I was on her ass supporting her, because she was calling out people for like, sexually harassing her and recording her at her permission and like staring at her ass, and I'm like, yeah, you tell them. I'm like, no, fuck you, bitch, I don't like you. The other character name is Kim Jo-jin or Kim Yoo-jin. What's one of those? Again, I'm sorry if I butchered her name. I'm still relearning Korean because I started learning pronunciations and I ventured off because of school and I got distracted, but I'm trying to get back into it, so I apologize for pronunciation. I'm really trying. But her character was Choi Myung-ki. I think it was Myung-ki or Mingi. I don't remember her name, honestly. I don't care to learn her name, like the character's name, because I don't like this bitch. Miss M. Her name is Miss M. I don't like her. Simple as that. So fucking annoying. Absolutely. All I can say is she's so fucking annoying and just disgustingly spiteful and hateful. I've never wanted to punch a character so much until I watched this show. I don't like her. I really don't like her. She's the definition of stepping and trampling and using someone to get ahead. She stepped on the underdogs, the middlemen, the little people, the people above her. She stepped on the people above her to get to where she wanted to be. Which, like, I admire your drive, but at the same time, the way you did it, fuck you, you're disgusting. And like, she had a history of it too. It was like, oh, it was a one-time thing. They made her do it. No, she chose to do it. She's known for this. And that's what made me mad. Literally, it's like, I appreciate your drive because you want to get to the top. But is there an ethical way to go about this? Can you just do the work yourself? If feels like you're cheating. It feels like you're not actually trying. You're just kind of manipulating. It's like she didn't sleep her way to the top before you assumed that's not what she did. No, she just trampled on the people to get to the top. She basically killed off people to get to the top. She manipulated. She blackmailed. She is a bitch. She's a scammer. I hate her, and if you watch Vincenzo, you'll understand why I don't like this woman. She's the most disgusting person. The things she orchestrated, the things she was behind, makes her one of the most cruel human beings I can think of. And all I would like to say is I'm so happy for episode 20. I'm so grateful for that scene. Everything that happened. Yeah, I appreciate Vincenzo. The bitch had it coming. And she deserved every fucking moment of it. I hope it hurt. Now, I don't believe violence is the answer, but I hate her, and I'm happy it happened. And I know I hate to Star Wars, but if you saw this show, you'd understand how much I don't like her, and it makes sense why. Yeah, I really don't like her. I really don't like her. Yeah, but anyways, besides the hate part, I want to talk about why, another reason why the show grabbed my attention. Okay, I'm studying to become a lawyer. Right now, I have a law and society major. I am a law and society major, which basically is an interdisciplinary studies major, which is basically 2 majors in one. So I have a concentration in law and society, which is basically like criminal justice and political science. And basically from watching the show, I got to learn about basically the workings within the legal system and courts. Mainly in Korea, I imagine it's pretty much similar to American courts. But I got to learn about basically the inner workings of the court, as well as the inner workings of a shady court where someone is basically bribed or manipulated or blackmailed to be on one side, whatever, scammers. And as well, you get to learn about the legal systems in South Korea versus Italy and America, as well as you get to hear a little bit of court jargon here and there. You get to learn about some terms like terminology, procedures, all that. And you get to learn about the laws of Korea, well, South Korea. I did not know. Well, like, I heard about this, but let me correct myself. I knew this was true. Like, I've heard about this, but I didn't know if like it was true until I watched Vincenzo and they talked about it more. That they don't have lungs. They don't have guns in Korea. In South Korea, they're not legal. Citizens don't have guns. For you to get one, it's illegal, and you have to acquire it somehow. So then I was like, oh, okay. Didn't know that. Versus America, it's like we depend on our guns, and they have like South Korea because like we don't have guns. What the fuck? And then they're talking about like some of the gun policies where it's like, oh, the gun was fake, but since it was used in an intimidating manner, while they didn't violate this thing of owning a gun, they did violate this whole policy of assault by intimidation, I think it was, or something like that, like attempted assault through intimidation, something like that. It was just really interesting to learn about. As, you know, like someone who does want to be a lawyer, I just enjoyed hearing about it. I don't know, I think I enjoyed it a lot because of the fact that it had to do with law as well, which is really cool. Because of course it's talking more about like shady criminals and like talked more about the corporate kind of law, but it was still really cool. It was like a mixture of criminal law and corporate law, if that helps for anyone who's more so interested in studying those two fields. That's what I mainly focused on. And you get to see some shady workings and practices, and like it was really cool. One thing that surprised me, like it didn't really shock me because I know there's a lot of K-dramas that focus on LGBTQ romances, especially specifically between gay men, which shocked me because I know South Korea is more of a conservative country, and I don't know how like accepting they are on LGBTQ people. But seeing it like mentioned was interesting because it wasn't talked about in a negative light. It was like, oh, this one character is attracted to this kind of man, and it wasn't like, oh, it was like a secret thing, like, oh, he's like closeted and that's why he's like this. It was like, oh, he's openly a homosexual man. He's open about it. He's open about his flirtations. He just has a temper problem when it comes to being rejected, and that he has experienced not necessarily trauma, but he's experienced some dark things in his life. And I felt bad because I did play with his crush on Vincenzo, which if you watch it, you'll see it happen. But it wasn't like that awkward, like, oh, don't touch me, like, oh, don't touch me. Or it was like a, I don't want to do this. I don't like him. I don't want to be the, it wasn't like he didn't want to be there because he's gay. He didn't want to be there because he's not attracted to him, because he's not a gay man, and he not necessarily felt wrong for doing it. He just didn't want to be the person having to do it, if that makes sense. So it wasn't anything homophobic. It was just like, I don't want to do this. This is weird because this isn't for me. But I don't know how to explain this, because like, it wasn't anything homophobic. It was just really interesting to see the inclusion of a gay man and it being a positive light. Well, of course, his character wasn't a great person, but he wasn't a terrible person. It was interesting to say the least. I don't know why I was kind of rooting for him and Vincenzo. Like, I know, oh, they're gonna get together, obviously, but I was like, I wouldn't mind them as a couple. It was cute. It was something. It was amusing. Another thing I want to talk about are action, suspense, and parallels. There's a lot of, I don't want to pinpoint specific parallels, but there are a lot of parallels in this show that you will witness as you watch it. And it's not like every episode, but there will be moments where you're like, oh wait, you can relate this back to this scene. And then the action, suspense, every time, because you know when there's a lot of shows you're like, oh, this is obviously gonna happen, I obviously see this coming, this is so predictable. No, every time you're like, oh, this is obviously gonna happen, it gets you and you're like, psych, that's actually not what happened. And then sometimes you're like, oh, okay, I caught the pattern, what I think could happen isn't gonna happen, it's gonna be this and that, and you're so wrong. And then you're just like, what the hell? There's so many plot twists and unexpected moments that just leave you like, what the hell is going on? And you don't see it coming, so then you're doing like double takes. You're like, wait, what? It's either end of episode 6 or beginning of episode 7 or end of episode 7. I don't remember. All I'm gonna say is the words CEO. If that clicks for those who have watched Vincenzo or know about some of the major plots, you'll know what I'm talking about. But CEO, that's my key point. I did not see that coming, is all I can say. Unexpected, biggest plot twist ever. Not the biggest one that happened. Well, kind of. Did not see that coming. I would never have assumed. I was so just like, what? Are we sure? I was doing double takes. I was checking Google. I'm like, y'all are lying. There's no way. Wait, what? I was so shocked. Like, so shocked. Like, wow. Wow. Didn't see it coming. And then the cliffhangers in the show. Every cliffhanger, because I know it's the point of them, but every cliffhanger left you wanting more. But it wasn't like a, oh my god, I can't wait for like, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna go to sleep, can't wait to see it when I wake up. No, it was like, oh my god, I can't stop this. I have to now put off my sleep and my homework so I can watch the next episode. So I like, I don't think you can see my eye bags because I got some sleep finally. I finished watching Vincenzo in 3 days. The first 2 days I didn't sleep, but basically in less than, what is it, 32 hours? In less than 32 hours, I completed all of Vincenzo. I started Sunday, I finished, today's Wednesday morning. Yeah, I have not slept much, I have not got much work done. I did my homework before starting this filming. Wow, I could not put down my screen. Every time I'm like, okay, one more, I'm going to bed, and then I'm like, never mind, I'm going to bed after this. When I tell you I finished episode 20, when I started it, it was probably almost 6 in the morning. I looked down on my laptop and I go, it's dark. I looked up, I'm like, oh shit, it's light. And I'm like, okay. And then the episode finished. I looked again, I'm like, oh, it's daytime now. It's now 7:40. And I was like, oh, wow. Literally leaves you wanting more. Even the end of this, like episode 20, you're still sitting there like, is there one more episode? Please give me one more episode. But it left you, okay, at least episode 20 ended where you're like, okay, I'm okay, but I missed the show, I want more. But it wasn't like, oh, they could have kept going, I have so many unanswered questions. Like, they answered what I need them to answer, but it still left you wanting more. If that makes sense. You're still like, no, come back, give me season 2. No, I don't need it, I just want more of y'all, I love you, kind of thing. It was just so addicting. It's like one of the most addicting shows I've watched, and I'm not just saying that because I like the show. I truly mean that. And I'm a binge watcher of shows. That's the only show where I'm like, I kind of want to watch it again and again and again and again because of how much it had me on my seat. Like, what? And like, I was in my group chat like, yo, what was texting Viviana because she's the one who suggested me. I was like, what is going on? Like, what? It was crazy. And then okay, the score and soundtrack. Score slash soundtrack, because I know people call it different things. If I'm correct, the technical term is score, but it can also be soundtrack, whatever. The music in this, so good, so beautiful. It was a nice mixture of classical music, Italian and Korean instrumentals, and the build-up. There was classical music even in the suspenseful scenes and like the build-up, and like they even used some of the characters for like the scores, because like one of the residents of the plaza is a piano teacher, so she'd be playing on the piano and she'd be playing like more of an intense, not like angsty, like it had your nerves like what's gonna happen, like you know something's gonna happen because how the music's like building, and she's like playing, and you have, and like it would be cutting to like different scenes of like to another scene of action and back to her, and it's just building and building and building, and you're just like, what is gonna happen, what's going on? And the usage of the music was perfect. I don't have a single issue about the music. Sometimes I'm like, oh, we didn't need all the music here, or they could have done more here, or yeah, or I get why this song was used for this, like why is it like this? No, I didn't have a single complaint about the music. It was so great. I loved it, and again, because it's an Italian Korean kind of K-drama, I like that they used both Italian and Korean music. Same thing with the elements of food. They focused on Italian and Korean food. So we'd have risotto, we'd have I don't want to pronounce it wrong because the names are a little harder for me, but they're like these little the fish snacks, like they're like dough, and it's like fried in a fish shape. And even the food had like important moments to the story. Like the food had to do with the story too, and it was so interesting how they like interworked those elements into the script. And I loved it. Like I actually loved it. It was so cool. Like really cool. And also the product placement, it was funny how they would do it, because some scenes where we start with product placement, where you'd have a scene and they'd focus for some reason so long on this one little candy bar, and you're just like, yeah, this is definitely product placement. This is so product placement. But it'd be funny because it wouldn't be like overkill. You're like, oh my god, I'm tired. This would be like, why are we back here? And you're kind of moving. The cinematography, production, and locations of it all. I could not believe that some of those scenes, especially the Italian scenes, like the scenes of Italy, they were shot on a like blue green screen. Like those two, they used blue and green screens for some of those, and I was like, because I understand like during COVID, but they like, I think this the term blue screen thing, blue screened in people like speaking, which I know is common in shows, but like it was just so well done. Like I didn't even know. I thought they legitimately like went to like Italy, or like somewhere that looked remotely close to Italy to shoot this, and it was all like green and blue screen effects, and I'm just like because the cinematography, and then don't get me started on the cinematography. Oh my god, there were so many moments I'm like, oh my god, just make the prettiest wallpaper, just make the prettiest this, and some of them were the blue and green screen effects, and I'd be like, oh well, now that I know, I feel dumb. But it was just so impressive. Like he'd be walking like down steps, and then I'm watching back like behind the scenes, and that was all blue screen on the green screen, and I'm just like, what? I thought we were actually in like Italy, and it was just like, whoa, like mind blown. Oh my god, whoa. And then the choreography for the fights, that was so realistic. I genuinely thought, I'm like, oh my god, these people are like, because I'm like, because like when you think like how South Korea is more of a conservative country, you're just kind of like, oh, you know, they don't have guns, so I'm like, oh, there's people with bats and batons and tape measures and wherever they can find as weapons, and then you have the fight scenes are so well, and it looked real, and then you have the blood is like the most realistic, but you had the fights, and it was just wow. And then the outfits, whoever designed the clothes, give them a raise. The suits were beautiful, the dresses were beautiful. Oh my god, and especially the suits. I loved Vincenzo suits. And again, styling means a lot to the characters. Styling is never like oh, it just happened. No, styling is always intentional. So the way they had Cha-young or Cha-young in like the pantsuits and like the suit jackets made her look more like the badass like female who's on top of things. You would have Vincenzo and his really expensive like watches, and bolero suits or whatever. Han-Seo always in a put together suit, but then when he was like sneaking around, he'd be like more casual, and not like really casual, like he'd take the suit jacket off, but he'd have like a button up with a tie, or he'd try to look cool and he'd do like a colorful jacket and like shades. It's like, oh, I'm in disguise, oh no, it's me. We have other characters who might be like powerful, but they'll be wearing like hoodies and things because it looks more casual, it looks more normal. So kind of like a disguise, and I'll be like, oh, that's a normal person. You wouldn't expect them to be like super powerful. Surprise! Like stuff like that. There are key elements that had to do with people's outfits. Like you'd see the more older lawyers in like maybe suspenders, or the tartan vest with the long sleeves under it, and the glasses. There are just certain things for each character design that made it was like, yeah, this is for you. And basically like each person's outfit, each person's costume in a sense, catered to their character. It has something to do with their character and their personality or their role. This show had so many quotes and like lines that I really liked, that I felt were like just so, they brought like a punch. You'd hear them like, whoa, I've never, it's like the philosophies behind the show. You would be like, wow, where did they come up with that? Like that is so clever, I never would have thought of that. So there's one. I'm gonna put this in the English translation because there'd be some words Italian, but then they'd say what it meant in English. So there's two Vincenzo said that I really liked, and it was like I think one was like the devil fights the devil, and then there's one where it's like only evil can punish evil the way they deserve, meaning only someone as evil or as twisted as Vincenzo could punish, well, actually let me phrase that, so only someone as evil and twisted as Babel could punish Babel the way they truly deserved. Someone like Taecyeon, who's more, she's not from the world of the mafia, she's not like a scumbag, she's just your standard lawyer, isn't gonna be able to punish Babel the way they deserve, like someone who Vincenzo would, who's more cunning and clever and conniving and can kill somebody between the eyes without blinking. He knows he's not a good person. He knows he could do this and not bat an eye, he wouldn't regret it, versus Taecyeon, who he's like, I don't know if you could do this and still be okay after, kind of like that. Or there's another quote, and I really like this, it's from episode 1, and it's, I'm allergic to robotic people because they work their asses off without thinking and still manage to come up short. That is from Taecyeon. I love that quote. I actually loved it. He's cute. Basically they were just talking about something. He was like, oh, I work so hard. It's not Vincenzo. Jun-woo, he was talking to Taecyeon about basically like law and everything. And she was like basically telling me like how he's doing so much but he's not getting anywhere. So she was like, I'm allergic to robotic people because all they do is just work their asses off. They don't think. They're like yes men. They just do this and this routine and they get nowhere. And then this one's from Vincenzo. Regret is the most painful thing you can experience in life. I am not going to live by that. The right, I kind of want that tattooed on me or something, because I stand by that now. Like literally, because it's like no one wants to live their life wishing they had done something. No one wants to be like, oh, if I only said this thing, who knows where I would have been, or if I had just taken this turn, I could have avoided this, or oh, I regret not asking this person out because look, or I wish I talked to this person, or I wish I did this, or I wish I did that, or I wish I lived my life to the fullest more. Everyone probably has regrets in their life, and they're like, if I had only done this, I wouldn't have ended up here. So I definitely agree with regret can be the most painful thing you experience in life, because sometimes not doing something can end you well, but a lot of times regret is never something where like, oh, I'm so happy to do that. No, regret is where you're like, I wish I did that. And I agree, that can be one of the most painful things you'll ever experience, because you're like, you can never go back to that event, you can never go back to that moment in time and set things right or set things straight. And sometimes it can lead to bad consequences. So you're just like, if I had only been there at just a few seconds sooner, this wouldn't have happened. If only I had just not said those things, and maybe they wouldn't have died. Thinking I think about them this way and I just regret, like stuff like that. And I don't know, it was just really impactful. My last thing I want to say is the only con is the fact that the show is 20 episodes and each one is about 90 minutes or more. Only con I can think of. Only con I can think of, yeah. Which, if you have a small attention span, I have one, but like I'm really into a show, it doesn't matter, because honestly it felt like a breeze. It went by so quickly, But if you're not that kind of person who can binge watch a show, I am that person. I can binge watch one. But if you're not a binge watcher, it probably won't be for you, just because that is a lot to sit through. Because sometimes I'll get through like the first 20 minutes and look down and says I still have an hour, and I'm like, oh shit. So because of that, that's basically watching one movie per episode, if that makes sense. So it's like, if you don't have a really strong, like, if you can't do that, if you can't sit through one whole basically movie, you're probably gonna have to watch each episode every few days, or like an episode a day. But as someone who's a binge watcher, I watched like probably 6 to 7 episodes per day, which is how I got through all 20 in like less than 3 days. So yeah, there's just certain things we're gonna add. There's certain things that everyone can do. But if you are a binge watcher, if you are someone who generally wants to do this, if you have a school break and you have the time, have a streaming party with your friends who like K-dramas, and y'all just sit together and watch this or something. It's a really good show. I recommend it. So yeah, that basically concludes my review of The World of Vincenzo Cassano. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know if you want more reviews like this. And comment some K-dramas you recommend for me to watch. It doesn't have to be just K-dramas. It could be Japanese dramas, Mandarin dramas, whatever. Let me know and I'll check them out. And also let me know if you want that review of each individual episode or a few episodes, and I'll break them into parts. And yeah, that's all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video. Peace.